Hello, everyone. Welcome to Straight Bat with Gulf News. What a day at the T20 World Cup. A triple header, actually. A triple header which involved all six teams from Group 2. And we had some interesting results. Bangladesh barely made it by 3 runs against Zimbabwe, again, who proved to be punching above their belt, really. Now, Pakistan were very dominant in Perth, and that was followed by India's game, which was a interesting affair in the sense like, India initially were in the dumps, then before the Surya Kumar innings came, and the hit back and the David Miller thing. To take you through that, let's go head over to Satish. Satish is our sports editor of Gulf News. Satish, what did you make of India's match today?
Oh, Sham, I was quite disappointed with the way the Indian batting took over. They could have actually they started quite well, not trying to do anything fancy in the first couple of overs, excepting that odd six of KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. But after that, I don't know what happened. I think maybe they thought this guy Ingiri can be the bowler whom they can go after, and then they went after him like as if he is a spinner. They should have actually, the Indian batting should have adopted a bit more cautious approach, which would have helped them. And see, with almost half the team gone, India still got 133, which is a good score. Maybe another 20 runs. If you look at after all so many drop chances, so many easy bowlings, so many run out misses, South Africa still could manage to win only with 3 balls to spare or 2 balls to spare. So in that sense, if the Indian batting had applied a little bit better and got another 15-20 runs, maybe India could have won. But nevertheless, I think it's a game where they were tested quite well by the South African fast bowlers, and I'm quite impressed with the way Surya Kumar Yadav counter attacked the South African bowlers. That should give. So in that sense, now we have almost 4 batters who are good, and later in the innings, Surya Kumar could always take the Indian team ahead. So that confidence.
Satish, let me just stop there and ask you. You were with Surya Kumar. Did you at any time feel that Surya Kumar lacked the support, like Miller and Markram played off each other?
Absolutely, Sham. And Dinesh Karthik was showing a semblance of support, but still he was using up too many deliveries. He was not the same Dinesh Karthik whom we were thinking of, like the great finisher. Yes, the conditions were different, but still the way he played again, the shot of Parnell in his final spell, the first ball from outside the off stump, he tried to vacuum over the mid wicket. I think the Indian batters lacked a bit of the cautiousness, or they threw caution to wind and went after the South African bowlers, and this is not the wicket to do that.
And did you think that Indians were bounced out, or because most of them fell to short balls today?
John, they were not bounced out. What happened is they took the bait. Obviously, on a bouncy wicket, when you look at the previous game when Pakistan bowlers bowled, they were bowling the same back of length and short balls because it had that little spongy.
It had a lift and carry
bounce, spongy bounce, which had like stop the ball and came up. And if you hit the deck harder, it could even come faster. So the wicket was doing well, and it is even a novice would know that they're going to pepper you with short balls. Indian team coming anywhere outside India will be peppered with short balls. The only thing is, instead of the batters going after the bowling, when the bowlers were bowling short balls, they could have waited, maybe rotated the strike instead of going for big shots, rotated the strike and made them bowl to India's strength. That's exactly what happened in the first 2 overs. 5 dot balls, 1-6, 5 dot balls, 1-6. Because the bowler bowled in the area where the Rohit Sharma and Rahul wanted the bowlers to bowl. So that should have been the approach. But here, the Rohit Sharma, Kohli, Rahul, everybody went after the bowling. And Pandya, to some extent, I would say he was unlucky because he was one of the only batsmen who tried to keep the ball down. But unfortunately, he couldn't keep it too low because it was a pretty good catch by Rabada.
Okay, I mean, we know that India's fielding was atrocious. So many run-out chances missed, and to top it all, a drop chance by Kohli. Did
I
you
think
at any point feel that the drop by Kohli was the turning point because South Africa were 40 for 3 at that point, and the next four overs, Miller and Markram added 45.
absolutely, Shan. Catches win matches. Not just that, even before Surya Kumar Yadav missed a run out. I think there was another run out chance earlier in the
Rohit
game.
missed two.
Sorry, Shan. Maybe I
Rohit
think there were
missed
three
two.
three run out chances totally missed. I think if I remember right.
Yep.
So, but again, if you look at Sham, I think the Indian team management really needs to look at the fielding aspect of the game because if you look at ever since the new management came in, and there have been so many drop catches and so many, the fielding standards have dropped very badly. I think they need to look at who's the fielding coach and they need to really reassess the fielding coach position because it's gone pretty worse. If you look at Asia Cup, they were dropping so many catches. So it's become now a malaise in the Indian team that no, they're dropping the catches. The fielding standards have dropped. Uh, Not one ball they could hit the stump. So what's happening to the fielding coach is a question that the team management should ask or the board should ask the fielding coach.
And tell us how will this India's loss to South Africa will impact the rest of the group? What happens now is India is in the second position in Group Two and followed by Bangladesh. India and Bangladesh are on 4 points each, so India could even be at risk of being out of the tournament.
I don't think so, Sham, because the advantage India has is that they have beaten they have got two wins basically, especially they have beaten Pakistan. And now they have almost run close to South Africa, so the run rate is not much of a difference. They have to play Bangladesh and Zimbabwe. And if they win one of those, 6 points they will be in. So at that
And
point
if
of time,
Bangladesh wins one of their matches,
if they lose one of the matches also, that's fine. That's right. If they win only one, they will be on 6 points and they could end up as the second team because they have a better run rate, healthier run rate. That's where they could come out trumps. But if both the matches are washed out, they still get 6 points, and then maybe like they might have to depend on the other results at that point of time. So right now,
hmm,
the weather is what is going to play a bigger role. But I get a feeling both India and South Africa are in a very good position because you look at South Africa need to play Pakistan. So if they beat Pakistan, they will be in 7 points. If they lose, then they could still be in five, and they might play the last game against. I think they have played Bangladesh, Zimbabwe, and they might play Netherlands as the last game, which again that could work in their favor. So both the teams are pretty safe in that sense.
Pakistan were very dominant today in their win. They said they didn't hardly put a foot wrong.
Absolutely, Sham. The fast bowlers, they really showed what kind of a world-class fast bowlers they are. And in fact, Ingidi said that he saw Pakistan fast bowlers and adopted that strategy. So they were so good and they understood the wicket so well, they read it well, and then they bowled at the right area. Unfortunately, it was an associate nation called Netherlands who had to bear the brunt of it. But it will be a good learning experience for Netherlands because they wouldn't have faced this kind of a bowling ever because they were too good. They couldn't score runs. The ball was coming onto the head. They were literally all at sea. And thankfully, they played on this wicket the first. So the wicket was slightly better in that sense. So, but still, the Pakistan bowlers were a class apart. Only thing is, India's loss must have dented their chances slightly, but I'm sure with
I was coming to that because how will this impact Pakistan, India's loss to South Africa?
Pakistan, even if they win all three games, that is after this they have two more games. Even if they win those two, they will be on 6 points. Whereas if you look at South Africa, if they win one match also, they will be on 7 points. If India are a winner another match, they will be also in 6 points. But I think India right now enjoys a slightly better run rate. But again, as I mentioned, between like India has to play Zimbabwe and Netherlands in the last, Zimbabwe and Bangladesh in the last two games. So at least they will, even if they are going to lose, they will ensure that they run rate, they up the run rate at that point in time.
And one of the features of Pakistan win, I know we talk so much about the wonderful Pakistan bowlers, but what really caught my eye today was Rizwan's form. He is running into form again, so and you could see the difference in the Pakistan's chase.
Absolutely, Sham. Rizwan and Babar Azam are the two main players for Pakistan. They build on that. Unfortunately, today Babar Azam got run out, but that was a good run out basically. But still, I think it's only a matter of time before Babar Azam gets in. He's as good as Kohli or even better, Sham. Like so, they are
Okay,
well placed players.
now we know about Babar Assam and Mohammad Rizwan. What did you make of Fakhar Zaman? Because he can be a wonderful player.
Sham, Pakistan now with the Fakhar Zaman coming in the top order and Shan Masood, who is also in form. I think the batting now looks much better and more solid at this
Balanced.
point of time right now, because that was why, because you have Nawaz coming in, you have Iftikhar coming in. These guys are in form, but they are, if they are coming in at number 6, number 7, so the batting runs deep basically. So they are got the composition right, but albeit a little too late. But nevertheless, let's see. Like maybe if they beat South Africa with this, in all probability they will, because if you look at the South African batting, 2 or 3 guys, if you get those wickets, then the others are not as good. So against Pakistan, you can't go into a game with 2, 3 good batsmen. You need a total unit, because any day, any moment, the Pakistan pacers or Pakistan bowlers can get your wicket. So it's a pretty good bowling attack. I think that should be a good game to watch. Uh,
Yep, that brings us to the last game. In fact, the first game of today, which was the only game in Brisbane, that was Bangladesh narrowly edging past Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe made heavy weather. I mean, Bangladesh made heavy weather of it. I thought Bangladesh had the match stood up and suddenly you see Zimbabwe sneaked upon them.
yeah,
And
I think
Zimbabwe seems to be doing much better than what their talent suggests, isn't it? They seem to have a lot of grit in them.
Sham, you have 3 experienced players there, and thankfully, one of them is standing up to be counted on every single match. If it is Raza one game, it is Sean Williams the other game, it's Craig Irvine the other game. So they are taking the responsibilities on themselves. So I think Sean Williams knocked 64 when nobody was
Yeah,
able to get the bat to the ball. Rather, when I think Zimbabwe were 4 or 5 down quite early.
yeah,
I think 35 for 4 and 69 for 5, chasing a target of about 151.
yeah.
That's a good position Bangladesh were in. But Sean Williams is an experienced player, and he showed that with a bit of common sense he could reach there. But unfortunately, finally they couldn't. But if you look at before this contest, Zimbabwe were the favorites, because they had beaten Bangladesh in the series recently. I think 3 games they beat.
True.
Zimbabwe beat Bangladesh at home in Harare, and they're also going ahead with like with a big moral boosting win over Pakistan. Whereas Bangladesh were thrashed by South Africa in the first game, and they just managed to win their second game, and they were not the favorites to get into the game today. So in that sense, I think the Bangladesh, it's a big confidence booster to Bangladesh, especially the newcomer Shanto, who did well. He played quite well against this attack, which tested some quality batsmen like Pakistan batsmen in the previous game.
Actually, Zimbabwe were in the game until 2 overs before the finish, and in fact, they were posting to victory at one point. What actually set them back was the crucial run out of Sean
Sean
Williams
Williams,
by
yeah,
Shakib. I
yeah.
think if it was not for that, I think I mean Zimbabwe would have been home and dry actually.
No,
So
but
it
Sham,
was
actually in that
actually
game,
towards the end of the chase, it was very much of Zimbabwe's game than Bangladesh. Actually, I thought Bangladesh was rather lucky to get away with a
correct.
win.
But actually, if you look at, I was watching the game after the power play 6 overs. Literally, Zimbabwe took the foot off the gas. They brought in the spinners. Literally, they allowed, just the way other day Sri Lanka did. They allowed Bangladesh to score almost 8 to 9 runs every over till the about 13th, 14th over, and then from there on, Bangladesh after the wicket of Shanto, I think that's when they ran into a bit of trouble. But when Shakib and Shanto were batting, they literally, the spinners came and they were able to take singles twos, and four here, four there. They were beautifully rotating the strike between them, and that's where they lost the game. Otherwise, Bangladesh wouldn't have scored the 150 runs. Maybe they would have scored much less than what they were.
Anyway, Bangladesh is lucky to have won that, and I'm sure they would heave a huge sigh of relief because they are
Now they
currently
are in the
placed
top three
third
now.
on the table.
Yeah,
They are third on the table, which means they are in with a chance at the moment.
correct.
Because if, like you said, if some of the matches get rained off, and they could be in a prime position to wangle the second semi-final spot in Group 2.
Correct.
Now that brings us to tomorrow's game, which is the only solitary game today after the triple header. I mean, 3 matches from morning till evening. That was a 3-game bumper day today. And so after a bumper day, we have a rather tame affair tomorrow. Just one match tomorrow. That is Group 1, Australia, who are one of the favorites to win the tournament and who are defending champions, face Ireland. Ireland are tricky customers. They have a plucky game. How do you expect the game to go?
Chama, from what I see, I think tomorrow's match has got a 40% rain effect, chance. That's what I remember when we wrote the story last time, looking at the chances. Because only the Saturday, Sunday matches had no rain threat, 0% rain threat. Tomorrow again the rain threat comes back, and in the next few days until the 3rd of November, it's going to be very wet days. That's what I saw last. Unless in other words it has changed now. But if should the match go through, I think Australia will be the favorite. It's very difficult to beat Australia, especially this Ireland team. It will be difficult for them to outmaneuver this Australian team. I think
I totally agree there. Australia too strong a side. Ireland could be a plucky side, but I think Australia is a is too far a bridge for them to cross. So
correct.
I would bank on an easy win for Australia. Really.
Yeah.
So that's it from us today, and thank you for joining us. And for all the latest updates, breaking news, and other news, please log on to gulfnews.com and all our social media channels. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.